5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's me. Greeting, friends. It's Michael here with California Travel Videos, and Grace is somewhere in the ether. Grace, can you hear us? Over. She is over in the front seat. I am in the RV. This is the first time we've done something on the road. We are now roadies, so I'm hoping you guys are all doing well. Let's see if I've got my chat working. Oh, yes, we do. And who do we have here? It looks like Van Life with Gina. Howdy, Gina. I am heading her way. And by the way, in between moi, Grace, and you is Tim from Time for Exploring. And he's just got into Wairika. I am further south. I am in Redding, California. That's about 100 miles from the border or so. So we've got about another 5 hours left, and we're going to be heading to the Big O, Oregon, Oregon 21. We are M21, Mayberry. And so, yeah, we are going to be going up there and getting together with, a handful of fellow RVers. And I think that Teresa and Mike with Meant to Be RVing is already up there. And so we've got a great show today, but let's see who's here first of all. Mo Bang, Tim is heading there also. Hey, Tim, bro. We had interviewed him last week. Great interview with another one, Ray. You guys know Ray? Oh, yes. Van Life does rock indeed. So that was a great one last week. And this week, we've got two awesome people down in the green room, and they're getting ready, getting kind of they're getting on their flight suits. So we're gonna go flying today. We got a fun time for the next hour and a half. And I'm not sure how this format's gonna be. Donovan used to have this time slot, and it was mostly community. And I hope we get a chance to talk a little bit about what goes on inside the minds of a YouTuber. But there's three types of videos. I'm thinking, well, there's a lot more than three types. But Tim Smoyer with video creators, he says the first one is the discovery. And that's like when you get to know a person. Hello, I'm Michael. How do you do? We are California Travel Videos. So that's the discovery video. And both of the gentlemen that are going to be on here, they do a lot of discovery, and they hit it out of the park. I mean, can't wait to talk to them about that. The second type of video is community, and that's what Donovan does. He does a community video. Ours are a little different variation. Well, the live streams are obviously community, but then we do some that we can spend a lot of hours getting ready to shoot or planning, and then last one we did 60 gigabytes. I don't know how many hundred files we had of the video, and you get lost in those when you get into editing, which is another 3 to 5 days, and then eventually you get to produce it. So and then the third type are sales videos. I don't know, it doesn't have to be selling something, but whatever it is for your brand, maybe just to get people to subscribe, and that's just good enough to help people. And who do we have in the house? Let's see. We have Meant to Be RVing. Howdy, Teresa and Mike. Can't wait to see you guys real soon. We're going to have some good times up in Oregon. And who else do we have? I see Tracy Ocean Fire 777. Oh, gosh. I hardly want to say the word fire because in Napa, which is not too far from Sonoma County, where we live, they're saying it's going to be high winds. In fact, coming up here, the winds were buffeting over 30 miles an hour. I don't think we got 15 miles a gallon this time going right into the face of the wind. But, yeah, it's kind of dry. We're going to have a tough summer. So, hey, that's why we have RVs, to get out of Dodge, right? So good to have you here, Tracy. And who else do we have here? Dan and Howdy, like the big hand up there. And who else do I see here? Van Life Vita. Hey there, Paula. I've got a confession. I have watched a lot of your videos, your interviews. You do a great job. And we'll see if I can piggyback on all the great job you've done with these fine people that we're going to have coming in. And it is 34 after the hour. And we'll give it another minute. I'll have them come on up, step right in, and we'll get started in just a second here. So I want you to do this, though, if you would, for me. I want you to feel that this is your interview as much as mine. So if you have some questions, I'm not always as good as I should be to look at the questions, but I'm going to try. And Grace is up front in the front part of the RV. I should maybe show you what it looks like here. Okay, this is on the street. Here's, you can see where my laptop is. There's a nice little ring light there. Look at all the stuff I've got here. Man, is there a lot of stuff? Grace, howdy, senorita. So we've got a Class C. She's up in the co-pilot seat, which today Kaliki wanted that. So where's Kaliki?
He has a beauty light.
He does, yeah.
I'm all dark.
So let's see if I can get that back in position. I probably shouldn't have touched anything. You know how it is. The demons will get you sometimes, but I think I'm back. Now, the thing is, I can see is that if I put my glasses kind of like up high like this, then you don't see the ring light. But if I go like this, you ever see people that do this? The ring lights can be, I mean, they give a nice type of soft lighting, but I'll try to get that. So shh, don't let anybody know I've got a ring light. So, and Ray, hey, Al, how you doing there, big guy? Southern California, I imagine it's a little bit toasty today. I think in Redding, California, it's, what would you say, honey? Maybe in the 80s today? Okay, sorry. Anyway, it's been pretty warm today, but we got the breeze, so that kills it. We're right by the Sacramento River, which makes it nice. So, oh, look at that! Thank you. This is our first ever, honey, monetized. We are rich. Thank you very much, Paula. That was so thoughtful of you. Hoo-hoo. Hoo-hoo. Oh, great. And, you know, I got to say, I remember, what's it been, about 3 months ago, Paula, when we were talking, I said, you know, I think Chrome, you know, Van City Van Life would be a good person to interview. He's really hitting the ball out of the park himself. And next thing I know, he's coming on her channel and he's making super chats to her. So you rock, you and Ray and all the rest of you. So I'm going to bring our friends on here and let's see. Here they come. 1, 2, 3. We have Nate, who is now, I think, in a mic off, it looks like there. And we have Marshall, who is a mic on. Gentlemen, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I hear Marshall. Have I muted you?
Oh, man.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. You are unmiked one way or the other. Can you read us? Over.
We can hear you. Hey, Michael, you can do it however you want, but there's a box on the bottom of the screen down there. If you click around a couple times, if you have 3 people up here, sometimes it shows better. Otherwise, we end up going out of screen pretty quick.
Okay, so yeah, I just have it in the side-by-side panels. What would you prefer to be in? You like that better?
This is what a lot of people do. It's up to you, but
okay.
Otherwise,
cool
if you move like a little bit, you just shoot off screen.
I'm going to have to move my camera a little bit, though. Excuse me.
Not a problem.
I'm too tall.
They're starting a super chat war.
Oh, really? Well, man, is that right? Are there others? Whoa! Thank you, Tim. You are the man, and we. Oh my God! Whoa! Thank you, man. Oh gosh, man, that is too much. You guys are so generous. Yeah. Oh no, Captain Jack. Okay, next time I'm on your shows, man, I'm gonna load up the piggy bank. So that is so thoughtful of you. You know, it's really nice when we have the different creators, and I've had like, you know, here's the thing, you know, at the end of the month when you get your credit card statement, it's like, what was that from Google? I don't know how many things on Google I pay, but as a for instance, we have a, I guess, premium account, which means we don't get any advertisements. Maybe we should be, but you know, we spend a lot of time on YouTube. So, you know, you get that and you get a couple of this and that on other things. And so I always try to make it a repeating number, like $1.23 or $12.34, whatever. But, you know, I know, oh yeah, that's right. That was created that one. But gentlemen, are you ready to kind of get started?
I'm ready.
Okay,
I think your bidding is up to $6
so
suddenly.
Here's what we're doing. Who knows whether this is the best way? I want you fans out there. Oh, come on, Tim. $10. Oh man!
You had.
When we see Tim tomorrow, Tim, we are owing you big time. Now I don't know if you like libations, but we've got a lot of things. And now some of the people are keto. We just got some nice snacks there, didn't we? mosquito oriented, but we're going to have a good time with that. So as I say, so the format, what we're going to try is we're going to all interview one another. So, and hey, if you've got a question that you don't really like, because sometimes I get a little too frisky. So if I do, you can just say the word reverse, which means, no, Michael, I'm not going to answer that question. What do they say? Rubber bounces off and sticks to you. I'll answer it if you don't like my question. If you think
I like it.
sucks.
I like it.
So, and we can interview each other. So we're going to have the next hour and a half of a three-way menage a trois, or whatever you would call it, in a good sense. So, gosh, I love both of you, and there's so much synergies. I know you did kind of a co-hosting, and Nate, that was such a cool idea. I mean, you come up with some really fascinating ideas on doing things outside of the box. So I'm going to ask you the first kind of off-the-wall question. Do you just kind of just sort of wing it, or do you kind of like synthesize by watching others, use a little bit of this person, a little bit of that person? But what's the genesis behind you when you something new, novel, and exciting?
Well, being a new YouTuber, I was watching a whole lot after I quit my job, right? And there was things that I liked, and then there was things that I thought, man, I would do this differently. So some of it is just watching others and thinking like, and some of it I've undone. Like my Thursday lives, I started 10 minutes before the hour to try to give time for all the hellos, because sometimes the hellos eat up like 10 minutes, and I was never a big fan of that. Although I've learned to appreciate it, but try to speed it up a little bit depending on the show. And now I've decided that, it was an interesting idea to try, but I'm going to go back to the hour. So just kind of that type of stuff. And, I've always been kind of a random person and random thoughts that I come up with things that other people don't. And I'm willing to give them a shot. And they don't always work, but I'm willing to fail and learn from it. So.
Yeah, that's really interesting you say that, because, it shows that you're okay with not having to be perfect. And we'll get to your profession, but in your profession, well, I guess if you can bifurcate and say if your work career, everything has to be where the image is important. But I love about both of you that you are authentic, you're intimate. We're all vulnerable, no doubt about that. But I think that's a good element of a person where, rather than to try to have this image, like, remember the Wizard of Oz, where pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, is that you're okay being the man behind the curtain, what I sense.
Right. Yeah, and it's definitely different from the career that I did for 11 years, where if you weren't perfect, you kind of got torn apart. And so you learn to try to be perfect and try to get everything. And, it didn't really fit my natural personality, even though I could adapt to it and did succeed in it and moved along well in the career. But that was part of my reason in leaving, was I knew it wasn't really a natural fit. It had some analytics, but it was much more structured, much more, dress up in a suit and make sure you say the right thing all the time and don't ever veer off. Or, in some corporations today, like tech companies, coming up with novel ideas are rewarded. That's like a really great skill. But in the government, in compliance, it's not. It's what is the rule? Be able to, read it correctly and then apply it. Right.
Yeah.
So,
would you say you're even maybe more intense than an IRS auditor in your corporate job?
I when I would go into banks, it would be like they're automatically, you're the bad guy, right? And so it usually took 2 or 3 days to be like, what, Nate's actually kind of a nice person, and get them to be relaxed. Even though if something was wrong, you had to deliver the bad news. But my approach to it was more, let's work with them. You've got to do it right, but here's some ideas on how to do it, or best practices. And after about my first 3 years, I probably was a gotcha, where I probably was kind of a jerk to the bankers. But I learned over time that working with them in a productive manner it was a lot more productive if you were kind of working with them rather than against them. So, but it was weird coming right out of college, and you've got bank presidents that they've been doing this for 30 years. You're right out of college telling them what they're doing wrong. They don't like it, especially when you're younger. So, I mean, it took a lot of learning to kind of get the right approach to doing it. To where
Yeah, but look how fast you've unlearned it. I mean, now that you're doing the live streams and you've got your fluff balls, we'll talk about your pups here in a little bit too. But let's let Marshall come on. You've been doing such a good job listening. He's such a gentleman. He's so polite. And I just hope that both of you, some of it rubs off on me. I know Grace will appreciate that. So, Marshall, I'm kind of curious about your demeanor and also this thing about, changing a lot of what you do. And you are, my God, your show format is like, well, one, you are a wonderful planner, and like Nate said, you've got a career plan. You've got things that you want to do with your new career here, and yet I see that when you do your shows, you're a variety show, I guess I would call it there. Yeah, you have some for discovery. You have some about community. In fact, community, I think you'll say, is a very big part of your brand, of your identity. And you're not really a salesperson per se, but you're out there on different media. You'll be on Instagram or Facebook or your website. Everyone should go to the website. We'll talk about that. But Nate, tell us a little. Marshall, tell us a little bit in comparison to Nate as far as who you are and where you're going.
Well, I kind of had similar kind of work experience, but different. So I had got kind of trapped in restaurants for about 20 years as a manager. And so you're dealing with a lot of like numbers and food costs and inventory and schedules for people and labor hours. And it was a great career, but after 20 years, I was just unhappy. And so, but in that restaurant period, while I was there, I was training some of these, the managers that would come through there, because we were a training hub at the location where I worked. And, I was in my 20s and training these people who had been in, the restaurants a lot longer than I had. And so it was kind of a similar situation to what Nate kind of had gone through. Like sometimes they wouldn't want to listen to what I had to say, or they didn't think I knew what I was talking about. But in the end, they always knew that I was trying to look out for the best for them to make sure. But yeah, so that's kind of, I've always had that kind of analytical kind of mind. And that's just kind of how I am.
Yeah, but you've had, so many different skill sets. I mean, I could see myself, or I had a lot of jobs. That's why I've worn too many hats. That's why the hair is gone. But you've had a ton of jobs you've done yourself there. And I see where you kind of went from, I wouldn't call it necessarily you're commoditized, but where you have some functional job. And sometimes there's a race to the bottom. Then you kind of got to your creative side, which is really what made you who you are. Some of your videos show about what you're doing with your RV. I mean, really creative stuff, not just in terms of the carpentry, but your approach to design. And then, like Paula was saying on one of her shows, it's like where, oh, well, look what he does with his thumbnails, how he'll like use a Photoshop layer and get a glow layer behind his head. And I think like, oh, he's almost like a deity. You look at the saints and churches, and they've got this glow around their head. And I said, he can do that with himself.
Yeah.
So you are a very creative person.
Well, I appreciate it, Michael, and thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor to be on the show with Nate and to be on your show. And congratulations on recently hitting that 1K, and that's such a huge milestone.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Ditto for you.
I just try to. One of my goals is to try to show other people that you can do it. You don't have to be this kind of creator with all this gear and all this equipment. I mean, a lot of people I know make their videos on their phone. You can get apps to edit your thumbnails. There's a lot of ways that you can start a YouTube channel. It's really about just deciding and picking a niche. And for a lot of us, it's hard, especially for me, because I have so many different passions and interests. But you just got to try to pick one. So my big niche was a minivan camper conversion. So I've been targeting that on all my videos, and it just seems to be working.
Yeah, in fact, Tim last week when we were talking about more bang for your buck and bucks, and so yeah, he has certain keywords, that is he identifies, because a lot of it is experimentation, and then what is the audience? What is your, they call it niching down twice, so you get kind of a general category, and then you get to the next level where you really identify where you provide some real value. And I think you are 100+% on the right track. And do you see yourself just kind of marching forward now? You aren't you? How close are you to the magic 1,000? What's today's number?
I think today I need about 75 more friends to come over and visit me and connect with me, and that would be you'd be part of the family now.
Well,
And,
come on down, guys. So if you haven't, at
well,
least go by and check his channel out. And I think you will quite quickly say, I need to hit the like button. He'd love his comments. And hey, if you like it enough, you want to get some extra value, because there's a lot coming down the pipe. Consider subscribing to his channel. So he's on the right track. He has a lot to give. And I am so impressed, like when you do a chat like this, a live stream, is you'll have a lot of things on value that you prepared for. And so, as a for instance, Grace and I are like, should we go to M21? How about Mayberry? And let's see, is it one in Michigan? Or where are they all at? When are they at? And you've got something you put on the site. You'll also give it on your live stream. But you value for value models, right? Isn't that what you do?
exactly. And before I even got involved with this YouTube project, I was a big time fan, and I still am. However, I've slowed down on listening to him. But Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, he'll motivate you. He motivated me, at least, and he was kind of before I really started binge watching. Like Nate was saying, he started binge watching YouTube once everything was starting to kind of go on lockdown, and I bet a lot of people out there can relate. And Gary V was there kind of leading up to that. And so when lockdown hit, it was like a snowball effect. Because of Gary V, I ended up finding other channels that were kind of lining up with what mission I had created, in that time. So he's a huge thing, part of my life. I like Gary V. Definitely recommend checking him out. Some people, he cusses, so it's not for everybody, and I get that.
He's raw, but here again, he's here's someone who grew up in New Jersey, I guess it was, and his parents had liquor store business, and he got into the wine. He's going to be raw, and he's not going to be like pretentious. And then he started to realize the benefit of social, which his parents didn't. And next thing you know, he was a guru. So he has a book. I don't know if you've read it, but I recommend it to everybody. And it's something like jab, 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 right hook, or something like that, which means give, ask. And that's a wonderful model, is that, you want to be sure. We talked about the know, like, and trust, or the discovery community sales, is that, he has where he's always wanting to give something of value. And I think a lot of it, you seem to identify with people, what their needs are, what their pain points are, or whatever. But and boy, RV and Grace, do we have pain points? She's giving me the high sign there, yes. But just getting set up for this today is like, oh my gosh, I got too much stuff. Maybe just having just do them on iPhones would be like pain points. We've got pain points, yes.
I'm just laughing at Tim flying by on the freeway by you. How fast was he going?
Well, it's so funny because we both have about 24, 25-foot Class Cs. He has a coachman. And we were going 55. I normally like to go right at about 60, unless there's a reason to go a little faster. So it was about 55-ish. And I see this coachman go by. I thought, that looks like the one I've seen in his videos. There's probably more. But once he got up a ways, I'm getting like this text message. I'm just kind of like looking at my watch. Like, hey, he says, I just passed you.
That's too funny.
And Grace was saying earlier, she says, if it's in the wind, just get behind a truck or something. But he was too fast for me. Good point. Let me go ahead and identify just a couple of people, and then we're going to get into it big time. So, wow, the messages are coming by. The Morris family, howdy, good to have you here. And 64. That's right. And this is, on our freeways, Interstate 5. That is cool. He's probably got less weight. We have a lot of stuff in our arm. Barefoot in Alaska. Hi. And now we'll talk a little bit later about How TM. You know, I have these long names. So many of you guys, what do you both have? Adventures. Okay, well, that's good. And then Mike, he has like a live stream that he does 24, 7x7, is Have Adventures. TAO, The Adventures of, Traveling Mike. So, yeah, you're over there a lot. And, thank you for that. TGIF, good to have you here. And Jeebna, howdy. Who else we got here? We got some more coming in. Dan, and we've seen you before. Thanks for hanging around here. And Grace, you've got something you want to pop in? Okay, look at here is Lance boondocking with Boomers. He's making the move through. A lot of great shows here. You guys ought to go take a look at some of these other ones if you haven't before. A lot of super people here that we've got. Gina is like getting ready to gear up, getting her show set up there. So she comes right after us. We're going to do a bomb in on them when we get through with our show there. So stay tuned for that. She's going to have an awesome show tonight. Now, I'm glad she's got reception. I've heard that this Alcea Falls, which is kind of by Eugene, I didn't know they had any reception. Maybe she's found a high spot. Who knows what she's got? Maybe she's got it in a drone. Yeah, maybe she's flying a drone. Here's a new one. Boondock Charlie. Hey, how you doing there, Senor? Good to have you here. And anybody else? Tim is here. Time for exploring. Howdy. Yes, and he's got all settled in there, hunkered in at Wairika, getting near the Oregon border. And Rob and Jan. Cam Van. Hey, guys. How are you doing tonight? And anybody else? Ron Daryl Adventures. Hey, how are you tonight? Anybody else here? I think that's most of it. I missed you. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going with the interview. When Donovan had this, it was like an hour and a half. And you need to give up the spot. They asked me, and I said, yeah, I think I'm game, but an hour and a half. Oh, an hour. Can I keep it going an hour and a half? Well, if I could do double header interviews, maybe a little bit better. But at any rate, I guess that going back to the big picture, I'm just kind of curious is that, what you've learned just from a high level. Nate, you've really found the sweet spots with this. We have a secret weapon, don't we? You have a double secret weapon. I only have one secret weapon.
Yeah, and I got to thank Johnny's journey for that. She was the first one that brought me up on a panel, and the first thing she said was, man, if you've got those dogs, put them on the camera. Don't even wait to try to figure everything out. Just put them on camera and go with it. And holy cow, I never knew how right she would be. So
yeah,
that's part of the trick is don't think you know everything, especially if you're new. Listen to what other people are telling you. I mean, I had no idea about YouTube, and I didn't do all the research. Like I did some, I watched, but this guy did tons of research before he even started. I just kind of went and said, I'm going to try it, see if it works. And then I started listening to what everybody said. And, you can't incorporate everything, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got, I think, your top view, we have, Grace, I guess our top one is maybe 60 or 70,000 views. This was when we went to Montana, Little Bighorn, great interview that we had there. And it's fairly long. It's over 20 minutes. Yours are a little shorter. You are the master of the shorts among the travelers, the RVer community, I'd swear. But you had one that it just had both rockets on it and then some. 1.2 million views, maybe about 15 seconds long. But tell us about how you felt. I'm more interested, not just about what it is. We'd love to hear about your genesis when you did it, but how you felt as you started to see the numbers shrink. What a feeling.
So my biggest video was I was at 200 subscribers. I was trying to do giveaways to celebrate every 100. And I was looking at what I already had for content that I could put up as shorts to try to play around with the shorts more. And a little secret, I've told it before, but the one that took off and has over 1 million views now, I did not actually shoot that video. It was, I had a house sitter that I was hiring on Rover, and it was part of her daily update. And so she sent me this fantastic thing. She was playing around with her iPhone, and she was having fun with it. And I've talked to her about it. She is thrilled that her video has gone out there. And I told her absolutely use it on her Rover or any interviews or anything she ever wants to use it for. She has the right to it as much as I do. But she's as much thrilled as I am. But I always try to be honest about it. The biggest, I've had a couple others, but not nearly the 1 million views. That one, I actually went for a walk. I was watching somebody else's live. I had asked the questions that I had to ask of their guest, and the dogs needed out. So I went on a 15-minute walk, came back, and I about contacted Danny with Griswold Family Vacate because I had suddenly my subscriber numbers were jumping, and your analytics page doesn't tell you that it takes a while for the views to feed over. So I had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. I thought something was wrong. I seriously was worried, who got into my account or what. And luckily, before I contacted Danny, I clicked through and I was like, this video just had 100,000 views. Well, maybe at that time it was 50,000. So I saw this thing tick up for 3 hours. And the unique thing about that, yes, even if it had stopped after a lot of shorts, they take off, they'll go for about a 3-hour run and then they'll stop. Some of them do it a little bit differently. Some do a little slower and maybe a little bit longer, but generally a lot of them go 3 hours and then stop. And you can kind of tell what it's going to run off of that. But this one, it did its 3-hour run. It was about 220,000, and I was happy. It took me over my 1,000 count. I barely even got to celebrate it. And and that one, I thought it was going to stop. It was kind of trickling up, but all of a sudden, the YouTube algorithm caught it again, and it just a steady climb for. It's died again, but it went for a steady climb for another 3 months, up to over 1 million, and it really. I mean, that video alone helped my channel just plug along while I was busy doing school and other things. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, because Jack, you're getting ready for your client. Well, it was earlier, actually, a couple months back, but still, is that you were having pretty busy with your school and just after the holidays and things. But I see where, in terms of your subs, that you had big bumps in January and March of 620, and then another 800 coming in. But the algorithm, for those who aren't aware of it, YouTube, the programmers, the whole thing that they do is just fascinating. As some of the people who are gurus and talk about the tens of thousands of signals, things you wouldn't think about that would influence this, but when you become a trending topic, we had a good run. I think when we got from about 750 to about 900, all of a sudden we got a big surge also, not as big as yours, but nonetheless is that, if they put something out and people like the taste of it and we'll put it in the buffet and then we'll open restaurants that have this meal of your video with others. And as long as it's high performing, they'll just say, hey, we'll give them more to eat, more to watch. So it is just kind of fascinating. I was just watching last night before packing up about cocoa melon. And that's the number one for this week. They're always up in the top 10. I mean, these are people, I should say businesses, that get over 200 million views in a week. It's wow, that's pretty big. They have 100 million subscribers, but and so the algorithms, depending on top 50, they're way up there. They got 600 million views or something like that in a week. Numbers we can't understand, but YouTube, it tries to offer those videos that we're doing that people want to watch. And if more people watch it, then it becomes this tipping point. And it's nice to know that a virus can be with our YouTube video rather than these things that where people have contagious among each other. But same concept happens. Something that is powerful, it does spread rather quickly. So Marshall, you've had some phenomenal videos. Yours is I think maybe a little more organic because it's like everything you put out is getting 200 to 400 views. And I'm not talking about in a month. I'm talking about within a matter of a day or days. So yours is that you have kind of broken the code on the secret sauce and you're building a steady audience. And, it's kind of in a way, it's sort of like for Nate, it's like, come on, if it happens to be a short, why don't they give all the subs to you? And why don't they give all the view hours? Why don't they give them monetization? But Nate, I guess you kind of do it the old fashioned way. Marcia, you really earn it, don't you?
I haven't had the chance to play much with the shorts yet. So it's just goes to show you though, that two different channels can have two different approaches to how you go after YouTube, and you can still achieve success even though you're not doing the exact same thing. So he's had a lot of success on the shorts, and I'm kind of jealous on that actually. But then after talking to him on his show, he was like, you know, I'm kind of jealous that the subscribers, like, they're not as engaging on some, like the regular videos when he puts out a regular video. So they both methods have their trade-offs, I think. But I'm just, you know, I try to pick up pieces. I try to watch a video or two every week on how to improve YouTube and how to improve my channel. And just, I was on a show called VidLift, which is something that there's 4 channels that do this show. RV on the Wayside, Texas Family Camping, Steve Turtle, and McGuire's on Tires. And those 4 channels, if you submit a 1-minute clip, they will kind of give you constructive criticism and tell you what they liked about it. And so that helped a lot. And I've used some of what they said in that on my latest few videos. So
oh, good.
It's all about just trying things out and testing them, and seeing what works.
Yeah, they've been doing it about a month now, I think it is. And
yeah.
you know, one of the themes that you'll continually hear for those who haven't got a chance to see it, just in a nutshell, is that, like Steve Turtle would say, is, you know, try to keep things, you know, around 5 seconds. Make some change. It could be a change in the scene. It could be even like you just do a zoom in the camera. You know, like I could zoom it now or in post or whatever. Yeah. But you know, it could be where you have a lower thirds going through. Could be, you know, changing the music, or, you know, whatever. So, you know, that's one of the things that people look for. You know, there's so much in terms of, like, with a minute, obviously you have to limit it, and they have it where they always like to have a lot of fun. You know, friendship, fellowship, and fun. You know, so yeah, I think there's a lot of good things that they bring up there, and it's good to see, you know, different brands and see which brand you have. So tell us about some of your people that you've really kind of over the last couple of months is kind of demand more time to kind of learn from some of the greats who are moving up with you.
Are you talking about like other creators that?
Yes, other producers.
That helped. Well, one of the first big channels that I met was Van Life with Gina, and if it wasn't for Van Life with Gina, I feel like I would still be growing, I think. However, I think I wouldn't reach as many people because she's all about community and all about spreading your channel and helping your channel grow. From there, I met Van Vita Travels. That's another huge channel that, I mean, those 2 channels, I love both of those channels. They do live shows. They get you involved. They're fun. And then Van Life Rocks is another channel. You know, all the van channels, because being in a minivan myself, I wanted to try to connect with those that are in similar types of vehicles. So even though they're not minivans, and all 3 of those channels have very different vans, you know, those were like the first 3 that I gravitated towards and became friends with, like virtual friends with, and now real friends. I've talked to them on the phone, and we communicated through text. And so it's just cool because it becomes more personal at that point. But there's a ton of other channels out there because I'm a huge supporter, and I try to be a huge supporter in the community. So like RV on the Wayside, McGuire's on Tires. So every Monday, McGuire's on Tires has a show, and they are quickly approaching their 1,000 friends. And so if you're not connected with McGuire's on Tires, it's a fun show. They put a lot of effort into this show. Man, the first time I went, I was like, wow, this is like an actual show you would flip on the TV and watch. Like, this is like, even though it's in their house, you know, they're not shooting with a $50,000 camera. It doesn't matter. It's so much fun, the way they do it and put it together. I love it. So it's by going, you know, my advice would be to find those shows that you enjoy, and try to find a show that you can go to every week, and just try to be consistent and go to that show every week and be active in the chat and say hello and answer people who are talking to you, and, you know, just try to spread the love, really. But those are the channels that are really the big channels.
It's interesting you mentioned the McGuire's too, because, you know, they have it's a family-oriented show, and so that doesn't mean that, you know, the kind of style and the value they had, even if it's a solo, you can still have a lot you can learn from them in terms of the way they run their show. And and some of it's just the personalities and things. It's just, you have been around since, oh gosh, what's it been, about September, October? Is that when you started?
Oh, I think my channel I started in August.
August, maybe it was. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
August. Okay, so, but, it's like, certainly, when you first get in front of that red camera, that big red eye that's looking at you, and
Yeah.
it's like, man, it's hard to not like have that. You remember when you were in 5th grade and the teacher was like on your shoulder there, and like you didn't like use the right sentence composition, and yeah, it's like you got to get past that and just kind of be comfortable
Yeah.
with yourself. And I think that's what the McGuire's and a lot of the others talked about. Now, getting a little bit more specifics, you're kind of the ukulele man. I mean, and that's so cool. You have something else where you are a performer, which is kind of different from most of the RVers. And you're okay with that. In fact, you're great with it. So thanks for doing that. Tell us about what made you decide to incorporate that in your show.
Well, thank you. So I play guitar, and that's like my main instrument of choice. And I've been playing guitar since I first started learning it in 1998. So 23 years now I've been playing guitar. I love guitar. It's an amazing instrument. But in a minivan, you're limited on space. And so about a decade ago, actually, I bought this ukulele because someone had gifted me a gift card to Guitar Center. And so I went to use it, and they had this ukulele, and I didn't really play it much at first, but then as this project started developing, I was like, man, this would be perfect to have with me on the road since I can't take the guitar. However, I'm still trying to find a way to take the guitar, but yeah, so I'm still.
Yeah, we always find ways to put some extra stuff in the RVs.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still learning.
That's a lot of fun. Grace? Oh, okay. Somewhere Over the Rainbow is one of Grace's favorite. I don't know if you have your, if we're catching you off guard right now, but and while we're, if you want to, let me just kind of segue for a second. Go over to Nate. Nate.
Yeah.
You've got a guitar yourself, don't you?
I do. I messed around with it when I was in Des Moines, and I had a buddy that was in bands, and he was actually a drummer but played guitar, and he encouraged me. There was a new game out on Xbox at the time that kind of taught you how to play it, and I did mess around with it for a long time. I got good enough to a point where I could go over and kind of play along with them, and I'll never be an expert at it, but when you have a friend that is so good at it that they can kind of make you good, that's when you know you have a good musician with you.
Yeah. Yeah, to go from beyond chords, we actually start to do some picking.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I ever got that far. The game actually kind of taught you, rather the chords, it kind of taught you, I think, the picking at first. And then I went over to his house, and he was like, no, here's what you're doing wrong with your fingers. So having that friend to kind of tell me what I was doing wrong was a pretty big deal. But you know what? I'm one of those people that people ask me, what are your hobbies? And it's hard for me to say it's this, this, and this because it changes every 6 months. So I probably, for that 6 months, I probably would have told you I'm playing around with the guitar, having fun. Then one year I was, trying to run marathons. Another year, the next year it was biking. And so I like trying a bunch of different things. So I think I'll stick to this RVing thing for at least 3 years, but who really knows?
Well, you could say your dogs are your hobbies too.
Well, I have said going to the dog park since I've had Dallas. I have always said going to the dog park is just one of my favorite things to do. It's just a lot harder now with 2 of them, and Dallas can get feisty with smaller dogs, and I have to watch Pippa because she's a little bit less predictable if she gets scared. So I don't do it as often. But dog parks, I mean, they're so relaxing, especially after a long day of stressful work of yelling at bankers and that sort of thing. To go, there was a couple years, you go, you're yelling at bankers and they're pissed off at you and you're the bad guy. And then if I didn't have the dog park and coaching my friend's girls softball team, those 2 things got me a long way, because it was going from your day job where you're kind of the bad guy and stressed out to just relaxing. And coaching the softball was, instead of being the bad guy, you were teaching them, and they all looked up to you, and they were learning something new every day rather than telling people what they were doing wrong all the time. And so, yeah, when I was in Des Moines, those 2 things really got me by for a few years at least. So
that helped so much. Like you say, it's to nurture the soul. I mean, if you don't have that part of your life, the day is long at some point, whether you're producing videos or your corporate careers or, whatever those things are that you're, it's interesting. I remember a pastor one time saying, which gods do you worship? I'm saying, what? A pastor would say? No, you take a look at your checkbook, you take a look at your time, talents, and treasures. Where do you spend your money? And you feel like you're doing something that's worth doing to make the world a better place. So you guys both rock in that department. Just kind of wondering
Thank
is
you.
that Nate, now you are in the midst of like, wow, just got through with this semester towards the got the house. I guess it's actually for sale and making ready for the big plans to hit the dusty trail soon. And it's not like you've been an RVer for all your life. I was lucky. My parents were in education. I was a boy. I kind of was weaned out on the road, and this is like you bought yourself a bright and shiny new Jayco trailer, and
Yeah.
so are you? You seem like you're pretty excited about the whole.
I'm just thrilled. I've got that itch. Once I hit that button on that, I mean, I was getting the itch before that, but once I hit the button on that last final, I was like, I got to get this house sold because I want to get out there. And I'm already hopefully going back towards Iowa, hopefully towards the beginning of next month if I can get the time and depend the closing times and all of that stuff. But go back, see some old friends, see my grandma, and then probably do I want to do a video on the Des Moines farmer market because that's like a hidden gem that nobody knows about. And I've got a buddy that has a small butter business, believe it or not. And
How far is that from Omaha?
It's 3 hours. Des Moines is. A lot of my friends are a little south of there because that's kind of where I coach softball and where my grandma is. But so that's maybe 3.5 to 4 hours. But Des Moines is about 3 hours. Now that was not in a trailer. I'm driving slower in the trailer, but
right. Have you've done your maiden voyage, I guess, and taken out for some day trips, or?
I wanted to test it a little bit smaller, but I went down to Texas to meet Amy. That was my maiden voyage. I just went for 2 weeks, and I was nervous about it. There was an issue with my SUV at the time, and I just took the chance. I said, well, if it doesn't work out, we'll figure. Maybe it's cocky, I don't know, but I've always had that confidence of if something goes wrong, I'll be able to figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, you seem right. Like you're very flexible. I remember when you were being interviewed with Paula, it's like you're just willing to get in and give it a go. Learn as you go.
I've always, and you learn a lot from messing up. It's like I very much learn from doing, and kind of like this last semester, even when I started out, I was trying to watch all the lectures online and read the book and then do the homework. But I finally figured out just going straight to the homework, figuring out what I was doing wrong. And I barely had to skim over the other stuff and I would still be able to do it. So I just know that I learn from doing. I don't learn from necessarily, I can learn some from reading and listening, but it just doesn't soak in the same way it does as me getting in there and screwing up and learning from that.
Yeah,
the school of hard knocks, right?
Yeah. Or as like my buddy, the Danish buddy Paul would say, his father said to him, Paul, you can listen or you can feel. And yeah, sometimes we do have to feel. And certainly, going way off the railroad tracks, squirrel, it made me think about when you said that about like, yeah, we like Grace sometimes, she has restless nights and you've had your things where rather interesting things. Go to Paula's interview of you. We won't go through it all. But very interesting things is when you sleepwalk at night, you can get caught in compromising positions, but what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives you a good story, right?
Yeah, that's right. I have a head. I don't know if I brought it. In fact, bad decisions make good stories.
Yeah.
So, you have, look on Social Blade, you have over 4,000 subs now, 218,000 views in the last 30 days alone. Woohoo! So, you're a good, for instance, is your trailer. I mean, you're flexible wherever the dogs want to sleep. It's going to be cool. And you realize they have needs, having come back from a rescue situation. You've had one, I guess, about a year, the other about 5 years. And but you seem like you're really flexible and wanting to learn life as it goes. It's kind of sort of your mantra now, which is so nice considering when you were working for the FDIC, is that everything is, and yet you can still have the best of it. A lot of people that were, whether it's government, politics or whatever, is you now get where you can be as a contractor and do it on the road. So I guess if you started to look into things such as what you're going to use for your carriers, or things like we're doing right now.
What was that?
I'm just wondering, your internet connection, your umbilical, your connectivity, since you're going to be contracting some of the time when you're out on the road. Have you started to make a plan as how you're going to do that?
So I've got Verizon for my phone, but I sucked it up. I know it's expensive, but I did order a Nomad internet, which is $150 a month plus the upfront cost. But the way I looked at it is I needed it for, not only am I doing my school remote, so I can't be taking a test and have it go out, but I'm also doing contracting work remotely. So it's just a necessary evil that I decided I need the most reliable. And unfortunately, I haven't been super pleased with them yet, but they just sent me a new one and are trying to tell me it's going to be better. So we'll see.
Here's what I'm using. I've got right now I'm using this MiFi, which is, I'm using Verizon. I think about it now. I think they have where you can change the SIM chip, and I think I'm actually have the SIM chip for T-Mobile. I think I do in it. So sometimes I'm never really sure, but then I also have a Nighthawk router, which could be for AT&T, or so I have several different chips, I guess I'm saying. But sometimes when you're on the road, if it's important, you may have better service from one carrier than another, but you'll get the hang of it. But here again, you just go in and do it, and I guess that you don't have a lot of time that you see where you're going to be actually with the client, or do you think you will be working with the clients one-on-one?
I'll be probably holding a couple of meetings, like when we wrap up. I'll basically be doing compliance audits, and so I'll do the audit, and then I got to meet with them and tell them what the findings are, that sort of thing, and what I feel they need to improve. But that meeting would be so the model I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be moving every day. I'm going to pretty much either go week by week or month to month. So probably through November, I think I'm going to go to a new place about once a week, and so I can kind of figure out. One, I'm not going off way far away from cities. I'm not going in cities. I'm kind of on the outskirts of towns where hopefully it will be more reliable. And two, I can look at, I kind of already know the weeks that I'm going to be doing those audits. So I can try to be somewhere in a bigger city or closer to where if I don't have it, I can at least drive in and get it for the time that I need. That's kind of my plan.
Now you're going to go up north. You want to go, you'd love to see the Northern Lights. And I think your father would be in South Dakota. So the plan is once you get your home sold, you're going to sort of break for the north and then come back to Michigan to the M21. Is that kind of the general idea?
Yep. I think I'm going to go towards Iowa first and meet those friends. And then after that, start heading to probably South Dakota for a little bit first. And then I don't have an exact plan, but in July, Amy will be coming up for I think it's about 10 days, her birthday, that sort of thing. We'll be up at the Voyagers National Park area so that we can see.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll do that and hang out up there. And then depending on whether Canada opens, I'll either go up through Canada or across the Upper Peninsula. And then that was the nice thing about M21. I had a rough idea, but M21 gives me an endpoint of by this time you need to be here. It kind of allows me to chart out kind of a general path of where I'm going to be going.
Mm-hmm. That's the middle of September. So yeah, you've got several months here to you got some flexibility in your schedule.
Yep, absolutely. And my mom pointed out today when I called her today for Mother's Day because I wanted to make sure I caught her because I can't always they come in and out. And she was like, yeah, she has started watching YouTube, even though she doesn't like watching the internet and is always scared of what button to push. But she finally gave in and was like, well, he keeps saying, and he's kept doing this thing and he keeps talking about it. So I guess I better figure it out. And so she doesn't watch my lives, but she watches some of the playbacks from the Thursday night. And she had heard about the M21. She joked around. She was like, yeah, I thought about maybe just popping over because her birthday is during M21. And I hadn't even thought about that. She was like, I thought about just popping in and surprising you, but I thought about it not.
That's funny. So You used to live in California for a little bit, and I saw your area code 408. I wondered, was it in the Silicon Valley when you were out this way, or you said you grew up there? What? I'm just kind of curious. What part of the state?
I grew up in Silicon Valley, so from about age of 2 to 22. So I went through school, high school, community college, and so kind of moved around. I grew up in Milpitas, the Fremont area, and then I lived in when you move out, I was in San Jose, Cupertino, Mountain View, some of those areas.
Okay. How'd you end up in finance? I mean, did you just like math things? I'm just kind of curious, as obviously that was where you probably got your roots in that, but what was the genesis of that affected your career plan?
I got into, I guess, my couple years after high school. I was actually going to follow my dad into like electrical engineering, but I started and it wasn't for me. I just didn't, I don't know. And so I went a couple weeks and just got out of the private school that I was in before you had to pay for it all. And then started at a community college and decided I wanted to do a business degree, because no matter what in business, if you got a business degree, you can do a lot of things, right? It's pretty versatile, not real specialized, and you should be able to make money and pay off your loans, that sort of thing. And then as I started doing it, I'm very analytical, even though I don't necessarily like sitting still for 8 hours a day. I'm very analytical. Like with YouTube, it drives me nuts. I probably spend too much time looking at the numbers. I don't really care about them, but I look for trends and that sort of thing. And so
right,
it kind of fit the finance and figuring out why. I mean, a lot of the times it makes no sense why in stocks move the way they do. Even after getting degrees, it's like, well, it could be this, it could be that, or you could have crazy things like GameStop that as a finance person, you're like, this is stupid. But the internet wants it to happen. So if people throw their money at it, and there's a psychological aspect to it too, that's fascinating, of what makes people invest the way they do and all that stuff. But yeah, just different fascinating things about it.
Well, you hit a nerve with me when you said that, because it was about a month ago. I like to look at a lot of people across the board, what they do. And, there's different brands. I mean, candidly, is some people like it when it's a little salacious, where it's a little bit spicy, and other people it's like, no, that's not what RVers are about. We're kind of like, keep the ball in the fairway. So I'm going to mention a name. I guess it's okay to do it, but they have a little bit different brand, the RV Odd Couple. And each of their titles and their videos and things, it's like, it gets this carnal interest in you, I guess, whether you like it or not. Kind of like what a couple of years ago, Nomadic Fanatic Eric and Jack's had going on. So one of the things I thought, though, when you're talking about strategies and statistics, I thought this was fascinating. And what John and Mercedes John said was that if you take a look at other people's videos and you see that they've had one video that's a breakaway, could be fluffy dogs, I don't know. But what was it that made that one video kind of get launched? What made it the hot sauce that was? And he said, consider whether that's the type of thing you could do, because it's obviously there's a big demand for that video, where most people, it's let's say, Marshall, for yourself, if you got 2 to 400, but you've got one that is goes above and beyond. I'm going to see if I can find that as we're talking. You get one that all of a sudden is like really rockets out. So to look at some other people's channels and see which ones are high performing, and say, not that we're trying to cannibalize somebody else. We're all in the community together. When one ship rises, all ships, there's plenty enough people out there to rise. But if you consider that at all, Nate, to where, taking a look where other people's channel have a high performing one, and say, well, maybe I should be doing some of those too, if it's synergistic with your site.
And the funny thing is, it does happen. I know Van Life Voyages, after my shorts were taken off, they have a little fluffy white dog, and they started making little shorts with fluffy dog, and it was so funny, because I swear Gunner, their German Shepherd, would have better videos, more entertaining, at least to me. And all they would do is label this other one fluffy dog, and it would be like barking at Gunner or something, and that one would do 2 times as better. And I'd give them kind of crap, but I had no problem with them doing that. They were like, well, we were just copying your words word for word. I was like, that's cool. I'd be doing the same thing, but I have looked. I mean, people like, obviously, Ray for travel videos, right? He does such good ones, right. And and his drones and that sort of thing. And then 1 second, and then there's other ones with fluffy white dogs that are making more than just the shorts. So there's like, I'm not gonna be able to think of their names offhand. Coconut Rice Bear, not Boondocking with Boomer, and Cloud Boomer or something like that. Anyways, there's a lot of them out there, and that's I tried a taste test video with the dogs, and I should have done it completely differently, but it was a good learning experience. I made it way too long, and I'm gonna do more of those because they do very well, but I want to do those right. But it was the first time that I could tell YouTube was looking at videos for potential actual videos, not just my shorts, where they were actually testing it to maybe do more with it. Was those taste test videos. And so I'll do that. I'll do some of those, and then I'll do, a couple other things still with the dogs, but then I'll also be trying to figure out a format for travel video.
So, now that you mention it, I hadn't thought about this before, but this is a great point, is that you're really good at marketing and, like you say, the analytical side, and still, to have fun. And when you do your live streams, you're anything but that. And yet you have said that when it comes to editing, that is not in your quiver yet. You still are going to, and so you're going to be going leaps and bounds on that as you start to do something that you want to work in, and that is story. Would I hear that right on some other interviews?
Say that again. I missed that last.
Is that you're interested to do more on editing and more on stories than you have been up to this point in time?
Absolutely. And I'm going to have to figure it out. I'll probably have to ask Ray about a crazy idea that I have, because he does drones, and I'm going to be bringing this bike and how I might be able to combine the two. And I've started kind of messing around with my GoPro on the bike, and I've got a lot of experimenting to do with that and getting it steady. But no, there's a lot I'm going to be working. What I want to do, I'm going to keep the shorts at least for a while, because I've still got enough material to keep them going. But while I learn the editing, I'm going to be doing 2 live streams. But kind of in the fall, I will probably be doing, I hope, like an actual video a week, and then maybe 1 live stream. We'll see. But and Marshall was, after the live on Thursday, Marshall was helping, because everybody knows I've got to learn the editing, right? And even doing my thumbs better. And Marshall was giving me great ideas on the programs he's using. And everybody's been so amazing and helping. I've just got to get that in. I know I can learn it. I'm not saying I'm going to be the absolute best. I know how I have the ability to learn it. It's just going to take the time and the practice and experimenting, making them, find out what works and what doesn't, and then changing it.
Yeah. Well, if you need any help, I'm, Marshall, myself, the rest are happy to give you some thoughts on it. It's, like the elephant, you just take it a bite at a time. And, it's the old Pareto analysis. You get 80% of the benefit of 20% of the work you do. So, the types of transitions or things aren't all that important. And some of these things, they're second nature, and you can, as you know, they happen very quickly. And Marshall, you're just excellent at this type of thing. I want to get to one of your top videos, 16,000 on minivan camper conversion mini tour of Carol. I guess that's the name of your RV, Carol, the Caravan. So tell us a little bit about that. 495 likes. That is huge. 220 comments. Tell us about your leading video.
So for that video, well, one of the things I've been doing is targeting the same keyword, and my goal is to get 33 videos in the library that have that keyword, so that it becomes, at that point, like it is an actual library. There's a lot of information there, a lot of value. And at that point, from some of the research I've done, YouTube's algorithm is supposed to say, hey, this channel is definitely about these keywords because there's 33 videos about it. And so that kind of makes the light bulb go off for the YouTube algorithm is what I've heard. So this video I had planned, and I was inspired by another channel called Adventuring with Amanda. And she was recently featured on Bob Wells's channel with Cheap RV Living. And I noticed that her videos, even before she was featured on his channel, her videos would get thousands of views. And I started looking at her videos, and I noticed that she didn't have any transitions. There were no titles. There was no music. There was no editing. It was a one shot, one take, her talking. So I thought, I'm just going to try it. I've tried all the editing, the edited videos with the music and the cool transition and the titles that come on the screen. And I was like, I'm going to try one that's just not edited, that's in her style. And so that's what this mini tour is. It's just, and it's like the halfway tour, because after that video, there's still a lot more finishing work I've been doing on the van to get it ready. But somehow, and Tim from Mo Bang for Your Bucks, he was saying that they just love tour videos. People out there love tour videos. So that's a little tip for anyone who's doing van life videos, or even I think it would apply to RV, different types of RVs too. But especially the van life, people love to see the tours, because especially if they have that same kind of van, they want to see how you're setting yours up so that they can get ideas for theirs. So
look at the mini home series. I mean, they've got hundreds of thousands of views on each of theirs they have out.
Yeah, the tiny home tours.
Tiny home tours, yeah.
Yeah.
Just on that note, then, and Bob Wells would be another one. He wasn't like a master editor or thing. So I want to get to this comment, though. It says, I spent so much, and this is Rob and Jan, I spent so much time doing hashtags and adding tags and keywords, it still doesn't seem to make a difference on which ones grow and which ones doesn't. And now I'm going to quote Tim Smoyer, Video Creators. And if you are really interested in this, you could go for just a month or two. I think it's like $28 or $29 a month for Creators Network. Is what I have, and I see Randy. She's doing very well with her videos. Randy's RVers, and so what Tim Smoyer and his staff of 8 people will tell you is that the tags don't really matter. It's like, wait, they used to matter, but it is what happens is because so many people have gamed the system, as YouTube had to realize, is that we have to find a better way. So as your video is being uploaded, I mean, let's face it, they already can do closed captions pretty well themselves. And if it's a difficult word that is understood, especially a foreign language, then yeah, you do want to have a tag or keyword, those things. It is helpful. The title obviously is very important because that's for the human, what they see for the thumbnail and what they have there. But every word is being synthesized, and even the things like what clothes a person's wearing, what types of like we've had some that we have a hard to get through because we're on a trampoline. It's like they think it must be a kid's video. So it's amazing what the algorithm can do. So if you do these, I think, as Tim would say in his group, do it because you do the research ahead of time and you find out what things people are interested in, what are the topics. And once you've got that, now you've got a big plus on what types of videos you should shoot. Now, most of us, we'll come up with the keywords when we get through. But, the reverse engineering is to use TubeBuddy. I think you do use TubeBuddy, Marshall, is that, do that to find out what you should be shooting. And if you wait till later, there is a book called Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. It's for script writers and filmmakers. Basically the same thing. Don't write a 120-page script and come up with the name of the movie later. If it's not a good title you can't find early on, you're maybe on the wrong topic. So I sense for you is that you found that sweet spot because you're getting a lot of consistent views. And so you've gone beyond the gaming the system and do it for the standpoint of, these are the things that you're trying to reinforce, if I understand it. A lot of words. What do you think, Marshall?
So I want to say something. I think earlier I was talking about the tags or using keywords. I was saying keywords. And so what I meant is, I know that YouTube has said that they don't work, but I still add the minivan camper conversion. That's just my set that I use. I just picked one set, and I think if everyone out there could pick just one set that resonates with they can use on every video, I think it's not going to hurt your channel.
No, it never hurt.
But
I mean, the title, you seem to use the right keywords in the title, which I think I just wanted to get to Rob's point. Wouldn't you feel that the title is probably and the thumbnail are the two biggies?
Yep. So that's what I was going to say is, first you could have the greatest video in the world, but if the title's not compelling and if the thumbnail doesn't create curiosity and make them click on it, then no one's ever going to know. And, because it's an algorithm, when people don't see it within those first 24 hours, then it's going to start fading out and it's not going to get pushed by the YouTube algorithm. However, if you put it out there and it has a compelling title that makes it's interesting to you and you want to see what it's about, and it also has a thumbnail that is drawing you in, and it's not like the other thumbnails that are in the same search criteria that you just pulled up on YouTube. If it stands out, I think that's a huge thing, is to make it different, make it stand out, make it attention grabbing, and try to limit your title on the thumbnail to 4 words or less.
Yeah, that's hard to do, isn't it?
Hard to do.
Mine that took off was 2 words. All it was fluffy pills.
See?
Yes.
And people say, what?
Yeah.
Fluffy's almost like a secret word. It's almost taboo. I'm afraid to use it because that you should have that, and it shouldn't be the word I should use.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think it is. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I noticed Daryl with Fan City Adventure, he was saying title and thumbnail are most important, and I agree with that. You need to get them into the video first, and I watch Think Media is a big channel that I think they passed 1 million friends now, but they have a ton of value where they teach you how to grow your YouTube channel. And if you're not familiar with Think Media, I get a lot of great info from that channel.
Sean Carroll, is that who it is we're talking about?
Yes, Sean Cannell.
Yeah, Sean, Cannell. I mean, yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
He's come another one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know his backstory, but his wife was very, very ill, and he had a need to kind of see if he can generate revenue. But so he started off. Well, I'll talk about cameras, and he, certainly people were interested to know about the new cameras. He did a great job on an education. But since then, he realized is that there's a much greater target audience if he gets the whole art of YouTubing. So which did you find that attracted you to him? And then what did you find ultimately was the benefit of his channel?
So what attracted me to his channel is because in the search results, when I was looking for ways to improve my YouTube channel, or probably at this time, it was before I had a channel because I was doing a ton of research before I even hit record. I just like that their videos seem concise, and you can tell I'd rather watch, you'd probably rather watch a 5-minute video versus a 30-minute video if you're looking for specific information. So he had concise videos, thumbnails that were catchy, and titles that were catchy. And just when I started watching his videos, he had tips that you could immediately apply and start seeing results within not long, so that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I've had some recent ones just in the last day or two where I need, I'm kind of stuck. I've got a pain point, and I want a quick response if it's a 5-minute video, and I can go to the 2-minute mark before we really get to what I need to know. Oh, here we go. Grace has been lobbying. I'm sorry. Here comes the squirrel. Bluff dog, bluff dog. And I don't know if you want to get your ukulele out or if you have it, but now's the time to have a variety show.
I think it's in the van because I was
that's
going to
okay.
go. Yeah,
that's okay. But look at this. So mellow. Now, I guess for those of you who don't know, one of the things that Nate does that is so damn clever. I am so proud of you, and that is that when you have his live stream, for every 5 likes, what do you do? Tell us, Nate. Tell us your secret sauce.
They get a TREAT, but I can't say the word.
I know. I use the same keyword. Yes, I know what you're talking about. That is funny.
Again, going back to what I said earlier about once you start your channel, just listen. I was watching 30 and a Wake Up, who doesn't have a dog, but he does a live stream with an FAQ or FAQ basically, and it goes 3 hours, and I listened to a whole one. But he had mentioned, I think it was Chrome with the Bulldog. He mentioned Chrome does something like that. So again, I said, that guy, it's working for that guy. I'll try it. And the really cool thing that I didn't anticipate, they've kind of gotten trained to when a live stream is coming on. Like they've kind of been circling around me thinking, where are they? They kind of know what I'm doing now. And so, yeah, they during the live streams, they get a little bit more willing to be on camera and get up a little bit. So it works out well.
Being Samoyeds, I see someone, a lapdog. I think Samoyeds are normally about the same size as Huskies. Our Husky happens to be 80 pounds. He's a woolly. Maybe it's all the hair. I don't know, which means they have extra hair. But are your Samoyeds about 40 to 50 pounds, Dallas and Pippa?
This one's Pippa. She's 40 pounds. And then Dallas is typically like 50 to 60, or 55 to 60.
55.
But she's a mix of something else. So I always say when people ask, I say the easy answer is they're both Samoyed, but Dallas was a rescue. She's a mix. We think she's Samoyed. Some people think Husky. I personally think there's some Grand Pyrenees in her that gives her the size, but I don't know for sure.
Look at who's here.
Hey.
Let's see. She's got something I think she's going to share.
Hello.
Hi. What you got there, baby? Uh-oh. Competition.
Hello, my friend.
Hey, I'm getting jealous. Or what is going on there?
Almost looks like Pippa's looking at him.
So I think that Dallas is Husky because of the blue eyes.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think. The blue eyes, and she has the sass, the personality of a Husky.
Right.
I mean, Samoyeds have it a little bit too.
Yeah, they got a personality.
Can you look over that way like you're looking at Kaliki? There you go. Look at her. Look at Kaliki.
Love at first sight. It's a match made in heaven.
I'm curious there, Nate. When you had your dogs in the snow, was that in your home, or was that by Sioux Falls at your dad's place, or where was that video taken from?
Which one? Because there's been a lot. Like, because I put out so many shorts, a lot of them were in the snow this winter, but they've been some have been at my dad's, some have been at my house, some of them might have even been in Iowa. That if I reused old video that I already had. So
that's so cool.
I just love how it looks like Pippa's looking at Kaliki that direction.
I see that. Yeah, it's really watching. Like, what is going on?
I'm so easily amused.
They know it's a romance. So who thinks that Pippa and Kaliki should have some babies?
I look forward to when we all get together. And Marshall, you're going to be seeing some of the countryside too. Tell us. I know.
You cut out.
Yes, I couldn't hear you. Uh-oh. Is Michael on mute?
Man, that was everybody went black for a second. It says I've got 74% battery, but I don't know. I've got one of these WeBoost extenders, and I thought I had like about nice speeds. Anyway, I think I'm back now, and we have another 11 minutes or so to go. But Marshall, I wanted to hear about where you're going to be, so I hope that I can meet with you, Nate, and of course your pupsters, and Marshall, you too. So tell us about the meetups or things you would like to do.
So far, I have reserved a spot at the M21, the Michigan meetup, which is being put on by Where RV Staying, and that's going to be happening at the Lake of Dreams campground up in Merrill, Michigan in mid-September. So I'm planning on being, I have sites reserved, or a site reserved, so I'm going to be at that one. And then I also just announced today I have a spot reserved at the Mayberry meetup, so I will be at that meetup, which is happening in October.
Right.
So I'm trying to also make it to. There is a meetup in Tennessee, Big Joe and Malia's meetup, I believe. But I was just looking before this live, and it doesn't look like there's many spots open for all the days. So it might be one of those things where I just go for a day.
Yeah.
I did check out your website, and you have all the meetups listed. So that was kind of nice to see it all in writing.
Oh, well, thank you. I was just trying to put some value out there, because I noticed there was a need. There was nothing going, there was nothing set up that I had come across that had all the info.
Somebody needs to be organized, right?
Not it.
I do what I can.
Not me. Not me. I'm HGD.
Marshall did not only that, but even before that, he made that list of the channels that were getting close on the friends and on the hours. And I told him, I'm like, I think that might have been, I mean, I had met you guys before, but I think you guys might have been on the list when I promoted you out that one Thursday. And I'm like,
so thank you.
Yeah, it's my cheat sheet. I try to listen on other lives and try to keep track of it kind of informally, but it's kind of nice on Thursdays as I'm getting it together. I can go on and be like, okay, I've done these. Maybe I'll do these again, but maybe this one and this one this week. And like he was talking about McGuire's on tires. Sorry, hair. But McGuire's and Tires, I had heard the name, but I hadn't gotten over there. And so I saw them. They were getting close on both hours and the friends. And so I shouted them out. And then I got to go and watch them for the first time last Monday. And I did have fun. I thought it was really cool how they have their two daughters as part of the show. It makes it different. And they are organized. I mean, it like you said, it is a show. So that's just another thing that Marshall has done for the community that I hope everybody appreciates.
We very, very, very much thank you for that. And when you had the only 200 to go, the 800 to almost 1,000. So that was a really cool format to do that, because we want to know who the people that need it. Is that somebody that we haven't subscribed to? And it frustrates me when I've subscribed, but I haven't hit the the top of the 3 different things. So you want to see all of the notifications, because I want to know when they have new videos come out. And so I think that's a great service you're doing there.
I've noticed too, though, that there is a lot of unsubscribing going on with YouTube, and I'm not sure what's going on. Some of our favorite friends and our favorite channels, I'll go to watch them and see that we are unsubscribed. So you want to check and make sure that you're still subscribed to your favorites.
That's a good point. Hey, Badge is here. Good to see you, Badge. And I think you're the are you the doppelganger for Paula? You guys are so fun together. You guys, I love the synergies of the way you do the shows and things. Not only just helping her getting her rig ready, but all the people in the industry. So that is so thoughtful. Badge is another one. Certainly does a lot for the community. And I call you Mr. Canada, so it's good that Mr. Canada is here on our channel. So thanks for coming.
Can't wait till those borders open.
That's absolutely right. Man, it's because I know you would like to go to the Northern Lights there, Nate, where you can go beyond Minnesota. And I'm from, as a boy, Northern Minnesota, believe it or not, don't you know? So, if you can get up there to Paula and Badge's country, that would be cool to do, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. The further north I can get, the better chance I have of seeing them. So,
yeah. I wonder who out there, who knows about the KP index? Anybody besides me know about the KP index?
Well, yes, but I know for reasons I don't like.
But how about you, Nate? I think you know.
Is that kind of what's on the app where if it's like a 5 or 6, it's a lot better chance of the...
That's what it is, yeah. So it's the solar activity from the sun. And so I don't think it's the electromagnetic wave. Well, it is electromagnetic. I'm not sure what frequency, but, they tend to go around the poles. And so a droner would be interested in this, because if once you get to KP6 or things, your GPS may not work as well. So, there's something when you have your drone, if you see, I have an app or two where I can take a look at if you got a KP6 Northern Lights, it may come down to South Dakota. But then again, if it's 7 or 8 and you're up by the, maybe your drone doesn't want to come back. So just something to be careful about.
So you're saying when I see the Northern Lights, I can't fly a drone army into them for footage? Is that what I'm getting? Don't lose all your drones.
Listen,
that's a good point.
When Grace and I first met, we were out by the beach, and it was this bioluminescence condition, which you cannot focus when you have nothing. You have to go manual focus, and you have to nail that shot with the aperture wide open, blah, blah, blah. And so
Which
similarly, Northern Lights is it do some practice ahead of time because it's tricky. Yeah.
yeah, the bioluminescence, that was, I always say that was God's way of smacking me upside the head saying, he's the one, he's the one. Literally. I mean, it was the most beautiful, incredible thing if you've ever seen it. You know, so I call him my magic man.
Very cool.
So by the way,
Yeah.
both of you in the last couple of minutes, I know that I'm looking for some common names besides Gina and Paula and Ray. Um, Box Fan D. So I think both of you, you know, that's where, and for certain for me, I've got to share one of my foibles. I was just getting into StreamYard, and I didn't realize is that if I try to do something on YouTube, they're going to be different URLs, and so I was going to do the spot there for Box Fan D had, and I was on the wrong video. So anyway, she was so thoughtful to be helping all of us, and you know, she's just the nicest person. So it's funny how we get all these people we meet, and you look forward to the quartzites or the Mayberries or whatever. We finally get a chance to meet them in flesh and get to know them on a one-on-one. So how about you guys? Do you have people
Honey,
like that you're looking forward to meeting?
Oh, absolutely, Box Van D, but it'll be
Michael.
next court site probably.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry,
darling.
I just want to say, just want to say that we have about 3 minutes to wrap things up before we all go raid Gina. So go from there.
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. Very good, because I do get passionate about it. So I want the two of you to interview each other with just the last question. So what would you like to ask one another?
So Nate, where are you going to between now and M21?
The big one is probably Voyageurs National Park and up right on the Canadian border. And if they open it up in July, I've got the passport. I'll tap toe right over that border and see what I can see up there. So where is the first place you plan on going?
So I am actually going to try to go to Land Between the Lakes, which actually goes from Kentucky into Tennessee. So it kind of spans the two states, and it's just a big chunk of land in between two giant lakes. So I'm going to go do some
And is
camping.
that where Forever Best Friends, was she over there? I think she was doing a video or something, and it sounded that was the place.
That was the same place. Yep.
Gotcha. Fascinating.
So
yeah.
speaking of that, then, for both of you, I mean, do you have like a lot of extra gear or things that you need? Marshall, how about for you? I've seen you've got the. Do you kind of feel like you've got all the gear, or do you have some things that I'll take? If it's a 3-day trip, I'll take this. If it's a month trip, I'll take that. Or how does that work for you?
Yeah, so the way I've tried to design it is to have everything I need to where I can take up to, I mean, I don't want to say a month, you know, I'll have to refill my water. I can only carry so much water. So, you know, I could be gone anywhere in the 5 to 7 day range. Maybe not that long, maybe 3 to 5. I only have 10 gallons of water right now. So I'm hoping that with this trip coming up, I'll be able to see a little bit better, get a better idea of how long I can actually be out there.
And I guess, Nate, once you sell your house, that's going to be it, isn't it? So are you going to have like the 3 types of bins? We did this on our last live stream.
Want to say goodbye?
You know, that you can get rid of, and that is like, yeah, you think you might want to save, or you might want to give to somebody else, or some that are the keepers, or how have you been? Have you kind of started to bifurcate as what's going to be the big picture?
You were cutting in and out there, but I think I got the gist of it. But basically, I've got the stuff that I know I'm getting rid of, and then I've even done kind of on my live streams, like, do I keep this or should I go? And everybody's giving great feedback, and so as I keep getting closer, and I think I'm just going to get the trailer loaded up, and I think I'm going to get to the point where I'm like, I've got to just get. There's going to be things that I'm going to have to get rid of that I thought I would keep. I can already tell that, and then kind of to what Marshall is doing, I'll be set up where if I want, I'll have I can park the trailer, but then go for 2 or 3 days in the SUV. I'll just sleep with the dogs in the back and just go with clothes and a stove and some water. So we'll see. It's gonna be. I'm so excited to get on the road.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait for you to do it and find out about your adventures. And we're here to support you too in any way we can. It is time. I see we got less than a minute left, so thank you both for being here, everybody. Let's give them a live round of applause. You guys are
Thanks for
great.
having
And
me.
I'm sorry that Grace couldn't get on the moderation, so my bad there for not being able to do better. But we'll get used to this
And-
on the road here soon. And so let's go crash in on Gina's party. And Grace, do you have anything else to close with?
No, just give everybody the YouTube address for Gina. I know most of you have it. Gina Van Life.
Yeah, I don't. If anybody could put that in the comments, that would be great. Van Life with Gina. And so Teresa and Mike are going to be there. And the rest of us are going to be showing up, I think, tomorrow. So we're going to have a fun time. And Nate and Marshall, I just think the best of you guys. It's so nice we get the two of you because you have so much in common. But look forward to seeing more of your adventures. And thanks for everything you've done for us and all the rest of you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Good night.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, good night. Take care. Peace out. Bye for now. Let's go head for Gina's. I'm going to go ahead and shut this one down. Peace out. Bye for